So I might have lost my job. Last night, I was just laying in bed and I got an email. And we use like an app for our schedules, right? And usually when a schedule is released, we get an email that states, when we work for however many weeks that he scheduled, right? And next week, I was scheduled 0 shifts. And I looked at it, I was like, that's pretty weird. I am going to be out of town for 2 days, which I requested time off for, but no days working was a little bit concerning. So I was a little worried, but it was also like 10 or 11 at night, and I really didn't want to have to deal with that right now at the time. So I just went to sleep, tried to forget about it. And this morning-ish, I text my boss, because I don't know why everybody just texts for everything. But I asked him, I was like, hey, why didn't I get scheduled for any shifts next week? And he sends me a long paragraph. I opened it and I was like, damn. Okay, sure. I'm not, technically fired, but, basically fired for now. I'll get into it, build up the story, right? So, this was my first job. And I haven't even been working here very long. I started, I think, September of last year. So it's been 5, 8 months-ish. And I tried looking for jobs during the summer, right? But I was lazy as hell. I applied to 6 places and expected to get in somewhere. It didn't happen. So after summer was over, I applied to over 20 places in one night, right? And I got 2 interviews. I got one from, it was a smoothie place, which is where I work now. And the other one was a smoke shop. And I was like, huh. I don't really remember applying there. But I read a little bit more, and it was a barista position for 16 to 17-year-olds or something like that. Specifically, they were allowed to be baristas there, even though it's a smoke shop. I don't know. But I low-key, did not respond. So I went to the interview for the smoothie place, right? And I was terrified. I was looking up online, like it was a corporate job. How do I do interviews? And, I even looked up, there's, some website that, talks about, people who's been to interviews at certain companies in the past, and they were I remember this one review that was oh, when I interviewed at the smoothie place, it was literally some buff guy asking me about working out. And that made me feel better and worse at the same time, because I don't really like working out. Although I have experience hiking, because my family likes to hike. I don't. But anyways, my mom drove me to this interview, and I was scared. And I don't know, I had no clue what to expect, right? My first interview ever. And I walk in, there was a line, because it was not busy, but a little people there. And I didn't know whether to wait in line I was trying to buy something, or just go up to the person and be like, hey, I have an interview. I don't remember what I did. I think I waited for like a little bit, but once it became like time for my interview, I just walked over and was like, "Hey, I got this." So, yeah. And I walked to the back, and it's like this guy. Oh, let me backtrack. I remember the first thing when I walked in was I noticed the smell. It smelled amazing. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's a smoothie place, right? So obviously, it's not gonna smell bad. You would hope. Fruits, I think fruits, they smell nice, but I just loved how it smelled. So yeah, I went to the back, and it was this guy. I think he's Bulgarian or Belgian, one of the two. All I know is it's a B. He had a pretty like thick accent, so it was hard to understand him a little bit. But you know, I got through it, and I don't know, I just tried to be friendly, you know, and it was pretty casual. Like, I got over my fear relatively quickly. It was kind of odd. I told my friends about this after it happened, but so on my resume, I didn't have job experience, like real job experience. So I put a lot of stuff like, for example, one of them was that I play piano because I played piano at like a wedding, and like I played at, you know, a pretty nice hall in the city, and I was playing for like 8 years, I think, at that point. Well, still about the same. Yeah, but he started asking me about my experience with piano, which is odd. And he was asking me questions. He was like, "Oh, how long you been doing piano?" And then he's like, "Who's your teacher?" And I was like, "Oh, her name is blah blah blah, right?" And he's like, "How much does it cost?" And I was like, I don't know. So he's like, "Oh, whatever, whatever." And then apparently he was asking for his daughter because he wants his daughter to start doing piano or something like that. But I don't know. It was funny, kind of weird, but you know, whatever. Um, yeah, I did the interview, and he was like, "Okay, well, we'll probably see you soon," which is like, "Oh, cool," you know. And I remember leaving. I was like, "Oh my god, I would love to work here. I really want to work here." I don't know if it was because the smell or what it was, but I don't know. But I get a call back. I think the next day I was in class, and it was from like a random number, so I didn't know it was him, so I didn't pick up. And then he left a voicemail. I was like, "Hey, call me back when you can, blah blah blah." And so I did call him back. I was like, "I'm sorry," like, and then I called him back. He didn't answer. And I was like, "Sorry, I was in class. Can you call me back when you have a chance?" So he calls me back later. And I think I missed his call again. But eventually, I don't know, it worked out, and we were on the phone, and he was like, "Hey, you got the job, when can you come in, blah, blah, blah." So I started, like, that weekend, I think. And, again, going in for the first day, I was terrified. I think. At least somewhat. Because I had never worked a real job. When I went in, it was him, the manager, and like the guy who interviewed me, and then this other girl that was around my age. She was like a year older. She was like this Asian girl with long black hair, right? And like I went to the back and I watched like a little video for like a course or whatever. And then I went out and I started learning, and they were both sort of training me, but the girl I was with, we'll call her, what's a good name? I'm just gonna use letters. Let's call her T, okay? So T is basically training me, and she's helping me do like all the recipes, and I don't know, it was good. I had fun, I think. Um, and the girl was so nice. And I still love her. She's still one of my favorite coworkers, right? Um, and dude, working at a smoothie place, like, it's like easy, but the amount of recipe, like, obviously there's so many different combinations, and we're expected to memorize all of them in like a couple weeks, which did not happen for me. Um, especially because I only worked like 2 days a week, 2 or 3 maybe. So it's like I was there, learning it like 5 days a week, right? So it took me a while. Luckily we had like this big board with like all of our like options for people to buy, and you can just like glance up at it and sort of see what's in it. Even if it's not like 100% accurate, and we also have to remember measurements. But like as long as I would just read the recipe book over and over and like rewrite the recipes and the measurements, and then when I would look at the board, it would usually like click, and I would remember. And that's how it went for a long time until I got basically all of them memorized, which is nice. Feels good. But yeah. Then the winter rolled around, and I guess, obviously it's cold, and smoothies should be cold too. So not very many people came. A lot of the time it was just like regulars. So it was slow. And that was like, it started getting slow like soon after I started training. So I kind of got used to it being slow. Like we would go like an hour with nobody there. So I would just like sit on the floor on my phone sometimes if there was nothing to do. And there's only like 2 of us working at a time. Sometimes one person alone, which is like kind of sucky, but I don't know. It was okay. I didn't like hate it because it was slow. I wasn't as tired. And then recently, it's been getting warmer because it's getting, springtime. And oh my God, like there were days like this was like a couple months ago. We were still only having 2 people work at once. But since I am in school, I would work weekends more often, and weekends or closing shifts. And since it's smoothies, the rushes are so unpredictable. Like it's crazy. Like it can completely vary. It's not like a restaurant where there's like a dinner rush, a lunch rush. It's just completely random. And there will be like hours where there's just a massive line, people filling the entire store. Like, and that with 2 people is stressful. Like there was this one day, it was like slightly warm because this is like, the first time we've seen the sun since the winter time. And there were points where it was raining for like weeks on end. But yeah, it was like a little bit warmer. 2 of us working. It was a rush for like 5 hours, and it ended 5 minutes before closing. So we had to do all our closing tasks. We ended up getting out like we closed at 9. We ended up getting out at like 9:40 something, which is like usually like not very good. Yeah, but that night I went to sleep. I had 3 dreams. 2 of them were nightmares about working. The first one was the girl I was working with. We'll call her E. I was working with her on that Saturday, and in the dream, I was in my house, and I don't know if any of you have ever worked in like food before. But there's like, like an Uber thing or like a DoorDash, and there's little tablets that like ding when there's an order. So there was like a tablet in my kitchen ringing, and my coworker was there in my kitchen making drinks, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing in my house? Like in my kitchen? Why are you doing this in my kitchen? She's like, yo, we've got like orders to make. So I started helping her, and I'm just so confused. That was the first one. Second one was that I was still at work, and that the rush didn't stop when we were closed. And it was like 11 o'clock. There was still a line. And like I ended up having to tell the line, like, hey, we gotta stop like taking your order. Like we have to cut off the line here. And it was like 11, right? Like, oh my god. Yeah, that was cool. And around like a few weeks, like, you know, before after that time, it was getting like, you know, it was so busy. I did not like working. I hated it. I dreaded it every single time because we don't really get breaks, especially when there's only 2 people working. You can't just leave one person alone when there's a bunch of people. Like, it's just not right. So, you know, I would stand for like 6 to 8 hours, like straight. Like I would go to the bathroom like once to sit, and that's it. So it was a little rough, but it got better once we started, first of all, hiring new employees. Oh my god, we literally had like nobody working for a good while. I mean, sorry, like no, like we had like 9, which is like not a lot. But yeah, we started hiring more people, and people, like 3 people working at once, and then it got better. It was so much better. And more recently, funnily enough, literally last week, I felt like I was having literally like so much fun at work. Like I was finally getting closer to like my coworkers, and we were having fun and talking and like learning about each other, doing stupid shit. And I don't know, I just found it fun. So I was in class this morning when I got that text back from my manager. I still have not responded to him because I honestly don't know what to say. And well, what happened was my bank, like my family's bank accounts, like got hacked. So we ended up having to take care of all that, like get new account numbers and routing numbers. I honestly forgot to tell my boss, so I ended up missing a paycheck. And we ended up getting it sorted out. But this summer I got like this opportunity to go to Harvard Summer School. And obviously I took it because it's a full ride and I get to live on campus. Like that is like the coolest thing. Like I totally don't deserve it. But you know, if you're getting the chance to, obviously I would take that. And people warned me, like my mom warned me, my people told me like, oh, your boss like might let you go, like you might just get fired. Not like fired, but like when you come back you might not like have a job anymore, because it's for 7 weeks, like the end of June to like beginning of August ish. So they were like, if it's between Harvard and your job, obviously pick Harvard, right? I was scared. I like procrastinated telling my boss about me going away for the summer for like 2 months. And I ended up telling him about like a week ago, like the beginning of May or something like that. And I was like, is it okay if like I go and like I still have a job when I come back? And he asked like how long I'd be gone, all that stuff. And then he said, of course, if we still have a spot, with an upside down smiley face. So I was like a little scared, but at least he didn't seem mad. It seems like now with the current situation, he was a little upset, because when he texted me earlier, he was like, you know, you telling me that you're going away for the summer is putting me in a really difficult spot. And he's like, oh, we need to find people to... He's like, I was relying on you to have open availability in the summer. And he's like disappointed that I'm not going to be here for some of the summer. which most of the summer, but some of the summer. So he has to train people to replace me. I was like, damn. And he was like, I hope you can understand because, you're thinking about your future and I'm thinking about the future of our company or blah, blah, blah. Which is fair enough, but like giving me no shifts at all, like, I don't know. Like, that's kind of crazy. Maybe. And I told, like, because we have a group chat, like a work group chat, but we also have like a smaller work group chat for like the cool people. And I told them and I showed them the screenshots and they were so mad. Like, they were arguing about it. Not arguing with the manager, but just like talking about it. Like for the past, like, on and off for the past few hours. And like this girl, T, the one that trained me, we've become like decent friends. And she was like begging me to like take some of her shifts so that way I can fight to stay on the schedule. And I don't know, maybe in the next couple weeks I will. I had a midterm today, so I did not. She offered to let me have today's closing shift, but it was a little bit late notice, so I did not take it. But yeah, and getting that text in the middle of class, like, because there were points I hated my job, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna quit, like, because I would get so tired, and working along with school and other stuff is kind of a lot. It's kind of a lot of work. But thinking about it being over, I was like so sad because I didn't feel ready to go yet. Like I feel like I was just starting to have fun and coming to terms with the warmer weather and busier stuff and still having fun. I was like low-key tearing up a little bit, but I don't know. I still don't know what to think, honestly. I don't know. I'm not super upset about it because, I'm going away for the summer anyway. And low-key, like, I feel like I want to be an actual barista, like a coffee barista. So starting from square one when I come back from the summer, it wouldn't be terrible. I feel like finding a new job wouldn't be terrible. It's just like the uncertainty that is very scary. Because when I was younger, like I wanted to work at Starbucks. I don't know why. I just thought it tasted good when I was like 10, right? And now, like, I wouldn't even apply. I would not even think about applying to Starbucks. Like, I know, like, one of my current coworkers used to work at Starbucks, and she like told me it was terrible. So, not doing that. But local coffee shop wouldn't be bad. Maybe like one on campus or something. I thought about that, but we'll have to see. It's mainly like the big thing is my coworkers. Like I love my coworkers. They're literally awesome. Like it's like most of it is like a bunch of young girls, like which is a little bit weird. Well, not like young, but like 16 to like 21 is like the general range. There's like an older lady and then there's one guy. But I don't know. We're just all very like similar, so it's really easy for us to talk and get along. I don't know. I'll miss them if I don't come back. But I don't know. We'll have to see where it goes. Thanks for listening to me, app.